G'day, gang. Just before we start this episode, I got one piece of bad news and two pieces of good news. So listen up. First things first, I think I messed up. My audio on this episode, it's not the best, and I'm really, really, really sorry. But one piece of good news, I think I fixed it. I think it's all right, but I just wanted to come out and say it. I've spoken to two different audio engineers. I've been slaving away, doing whatever I can to make it as good as possible. And let me know. Let me know if you think it's listenable. Let me know if you think I did a good job. Like I said, it's a new podcast. I'm still learning a few of the kinks and stuff. But also, one more piece of good news. If it's not good enough for you, hang in there. We got a bonus episode coming really soon, and a whole bunch of more bonus content is planned for 2022. So yeah. And while I'm here, thanks again to everyone supporting the podcast. The trajectory of the show is so much better than we could have imagined. We are really, really grateful. I'm looking at these download numbers, and I can't believe it, to be honest with you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Anyways, here's the episode. Hope it's good. Cheers. On this episode of Upcoming Attractions, we're talking the finale of Hawkeye, plus trailers for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, the unbearable weight of massive talent, and Fantastic Beasts, the secrets of Dumbledore, plus our film discussions for Dune, Matrix Resurrections, The French Dispatch, and Don't Look Up. All this and more on Upcoming Attractions. And we're back, and happy holidays to everyone. It is time for another episode of Upcoming Attractions. I'm your host, Matt Vella, and with us today, as always, Jesse. Jesse, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, Matt. How you going, guys? Not calling me friend this week. I've gone up in the ranks.
Everybody knows you're my friend. I love you, and they love you too, I hope. You guys better freaking love my friend. Also, with us today, another friend, Adrienne. Adrienne, how you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm so happy to be recording today. I'm definitely keen to get into the discussion. So much that has come out, like we have to talk about, so.
Yeah, this one is going to be a good one, I think. From our discussions, what we've got here, two of them are real weird, and I can't wait to get into that. But first, before we do that, we've got trailers. And even before that, we've got to talk about what we've been watching. But also, guys, literally a couple days ago, it was Christmas. How was your Christmas?
It was good. I ate way too much food, which is usually how it goes. That's the number one goal, is just to eat too much. Then I had a solid nap, and then for maybe an hour and a half, and then I just continued to eat with my family. So that was my Christmas.
Amazing. What about you, bro?
Well, my Christmas was great, but I woke up super hungover because I was at my local pub the night before with a mate of mine, and we just got absolutely wasted, and it was a pretty wild night. A lot of stuff went on, and so I woke up pretty wasted, and then by the time I woke up, it was pretty close to lunchtime. And I'm like, "Oh, here we go! I can sober up now." So
nice.
we had some, the turkey and coleslaw and mashed potato and all that kind of stuff. So, and I was full. Like, we had so much food and dessert, and it was great. And we did the whole presents thing, and it was great. Loved it.
That's awesome. One of my presents was this chair. I got I don't know if you can see it. It's a gaming chair, and it's got Batman right there, and you have to like. It's pretty cool. Like, I'm still. It's my first. Recording this will be the longest I've ever sat in it because I only put it together yesterday, and I'm really worried. Like, if at any point I just fall down and die, it's because I probably didn't screw something in properly. Gaming chairs take more assembly than you would expect, so.
They're complicated, but it looks so good.
My posture's already getting better, so I'm happy so far.
I got a vacuum cleaner for Christmas for my new place. I never thought I'd be so excited to get a vacuum cleaner for Christmas. So it's like one of those. It's like one of those like advanced lightweight things where you just like you plug it into the wall and it charges, and you just like take it off. And I'm like, this is gonna help me a lot. I'm actually quite excited to use it. I never thought I'd ever say that about a vacuum cleaner, but there you go.
We're gonna get one of those soon. Like we got a Dyson, but like those like little ones where you have to plug it in. Good for like the little spots, from what I hear. We're gonna get one of those soon, I think. But we used to have a really crappy vacuum, and when we got like for ages, my girlfriend was like, "We need a Dyson. We need a really good Dyson," and then we got it, and for her, it was like Christmas. She was so excited. She was testing out the retractor for the cable, and I'm like, "Babe, it's just a vacuum cleaner." But she's like, "No, you don't understand. It's a good vacuum cleaner." Like, like I was happy to deal with the back pain, but it was better. Okay, but enough about house chores. But keeping on the theme of Christmas, we got the finale of Hawkeye, which I was very excited about. 80, have you seen any of the Netflix Marvel shows specifically? Have you seen Daredevil?
I haven't. I started watching it, and then at the time, like as usual, I was watching too many other things, so I thought I would come back to it. And then 50 shows later, I still haven't. But the last Marvel show that I watched was Loki.
Right, yeah. Well, I don't know. By the way, guys, we're going to talk a little bit of spoilers for Hawkeye here, so check out the time codes if you don't want to be spoiled. But yeah, the reason I bring this up is like the Netflix shows and their continuity to the Marvel Cinematic Universe is kind of up in the air, much like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It was originally meant to be in the same universe, but then now maybe it's not. It's hard to tell. But when you saw Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin, I'm just curious, was there any relevance to you seeing him on screen? Because for me, I'm nerding the hell out, but it wasn't much of a grand entrance, so I'm curious to see your reaction.
It was kind of low-key. I know that it's a big deal, especially if you're as hardcore of a fan as you are. All I could think of was the actor, because I'm used to seeing him in his, like
Law and Order.
Law and Order, yeah. So I just think of him like that. But I don't know. You know what? It was still. I don't know. I think he did really well with it, but I wasn't freaking out because I don't know as much about the history as you do.
Yeah, like in the comics, Kingpin is like a really important character. He's not like superpowers and stuff, but like, he's big in Spider-Man, big in Daredevil. Was not expecting to see him in Hawkeye. Or even that weird kind of crossover we got with Spider-Man, because we got Daredevil in one scene there. But for me, like, it was kind of interesting because, first of all, he nails the role. He is Kingpin. I've seen many versions of Kingpin and animations and everything. And he is amazing. He's born for this role.
That's so good.
But it's also a little weird because the Netflix show is so much more violent. Like the scene like in Daredevil season 1, they spend like 4 episodes talking about him. You see the back of his head. You never really see him. And then when you finally meet him, it's an incredibly violent. He gets like a henchman, puts his head in the car door and just repeatedly slams it.
Yeah.
It is not for kids.
He's a mafia lord, right? Like that's what he's supposed to be like. He's supposed to be incredibly scary and disgustingly violent. And
he is, but no one's talking about this, and I gotta say it, right? I'm gonna come out there with the controversial Marvel opinion. They've dumbed him down in Hawkeye, I feel. Like, yes, he's stronger, he can like punch people through walls, and he's a bit more powerful. But in the one episode we get, he doesn't kill anybody. He gets an explosion to the face. He gets hit by a car. He gets shot with an arrow. He gets shot in the face, which they want you to think he's dead, but I'm pretty sure he'll be back in the Echo show.
He's going to be dead, yeah.
Yeah. Apparently there's a comic where he's shot in the head and he survives, and that will tie into the Echo TV series, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But we've waited this whole time to see Kingpin, and when he comes on the screen, he's a punching bag. And I was a little disappointed with that. But besides that, it was great to see him. And I think the finale was pretty great. Sorry, Jesse.
Why was he a punching bag?
He's in one episode, and in the space of the one episode, he gets hit by a car, takes an explosion to the face, hit by an arrow, gets shot in the head, off screen, and he doesn't, I think, kill a single person.
He doesn't.
He felt like a punching bag, and like I know they're probably trying to be like he's like the Terminator, he can take pain, but for me it's like, bro, don't treat him like this. He's too good of a character to go through this.
I feel like the attitude was there, the physical embodiment, you can feel that people fear him. That was all there, and the actor did a great job. But you are right, because he didn't kill a single person, and that's sort of, they downplayed him for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm chewing on chocolate here. I shouldn't be doing this.
Maybe they did it to keep it like a PG or like a maybe M rating, so that it's, accessible to all audiences.
And I had a debate with a friend of mine the other day. He's really looking forward to the Moon Knight show, which is kind of like Marvel's answer to Batman, but more violent, and it's going to star Oscar Isaac. But I said to him, like, look, if Daredevil comes back or Moon Knight or whatever the show, like, remember, if it's going to be set in the MCU, not much swearing, not much blood. Yeah. Expect them to tone it down a little bit. But, you can still have a dark show. You can have fight scenes at nighttime, but tailor your expectations. They want to sell action figures at the end of the day. Yeah. And they want to sell subscriptions at Disney Plus, which is aimed at kids, which isn't a bad thing. You can still do a rating does not mean a good movie. You can have an amazing horror movie that's PG-13. You can have, I was going to say you can have a great kids film that's R-rated, but I don't think it's possible. I'm sure somewhere out there's something.
Wouldn't it be amazing if there was like adult cuts of all of the toned down Marvel movies? That would be pretty amazing. Like, I would eat those up.
Yeah. Look, I think there's probably something out there. I remember the old Daredevil movie had an extended cut, but it's like, just remember, Venom was meant to be R. And that is
really
not meant. Yeah, the first Venom, there was a lot of talk on the internet, and we had producers saying we're going for an R rating, and then they really flipped. One day, the attitude completely flipped. I think it was due to probably a conversation with Disney or something. But all of a sudden, Venom was not a horror movie anymore. I was saying Venom's going to be scary and stuff, and then it ended up being like, look at Let There Be Carnage. It's basically a comedy. Comedy, like, depending on your definition.
Eddie doesn't want to be friends.
Yeah. So some people really love that movie, so I'm trying to actively not talk too much trash about that. Because I feel bad. I feel like I've ripped on it a bit too much.
No. Fuck it.
It's pretty bad. Look, there's another movie I saw very recently, which I'll rip on today. Get ready for the reviews today, guys. It's going to be brutal. But look, Hawkeye, I thought it was really cool to see the new trick arrows. I thought that was really fun.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
That was like a jaw-dropping. I loved that. Every time they pulled one out, I was like, what's going to happen?
Did you I know it was a while since we've seen it now, but do you have a favorite arrow you can think of? Yep.
Wait, what was your favorite? You say yours first.
One of them, I think, was the airbag. Probably because this made me think of Bad Neighbors, the Zac Efron.
That movie. Scene. Oh my god.
That was a couple of fun. I think the reveal of the new suit, the Hawkeye suit, was cool. I feel like the poster spoiled it a little bit.
Yeah, it sort of did. You're expecting it to almost like happen at some point, but it was really cute when he wore it.
Yeah, I have one little observation. Like, I love what Yelena was done with those few episodes she was in, but it felt weird seeing Jeremy Renner, who's probably close to 50, fighting a 25-year-old to the death. Like, I know she's a deadly assassin, but it just feels a bit weird. Like, you spent the whole show hanging out with this 25-year-old, he's fighting this other girl in her early 20s, and it's like,
it's strange.
It would have been better if I would have rather see him fight like Kingpin or something. But
that would have been very cool.
That would have been cool. But look, it is what it is. Overall, I really like the Hawkeye show. It's I don't think it's anyone's favorite Marvel show yet, but it was fun. I had a good time.
I really enjoyed it. I would probably watch it again, and I'm hoping that there'll be maybe even another 2 seasons I think would be nice, like a nice wholesome amount to delve into Kate Bishop and that entire section of Marvel. I really liked it. So
yeah. I'm curious to see what they do next with Clint as a character, because he, like, it felt like they wrapped put a little bow on his story, but he's still around. You can still do stuff. I did find the more I watched the show, the more Hawkeye grew on me as a character.
For sure.
But I still feel like, no offense to Jeremy Renner, Jesse gave me a good tongue lashing a few episodes ago for besmirching his name. But like I think it's not his fault. I feel like his character is just, I feel like they've never really known what to do with him. But I feel like they knew exactly what to do with Kate Bishop. So if they use her moving forward, I think there's a lot of potential. Any last thoughts on Hawkeye before we wrap this up and we move on?
Probably just on that last point, I feel like she had infinite layers to herself and her story, and he didn't. So for him emotionally, it felt very surface level. Like he didn't have to go hard really much at all, at least emotionally. But it didn't detract from me liking him more at the end of it. So
yeah, I think they did. I'm glad you actually had a conversation with Elena about Black Widow at the end. I feel like, again, like all things with that show, I feel like they could always go like a little bit deeper, but I got enough to be happy with it.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Moving on to what we've been watching. Jesse, you've been watching a brand new show. You were telling us off air you saw the new Yellowstone spin-off, 1883. Yep. So the first few episodes. How about you give us your first impressions?
So it's first impressions is it's I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say I'm caught on yet. I think it's gonna take me a couple more episodes for me to catch on to it. It's kind of building up to, I guess, where it's going. It's obviously set in 1883, and it's about the Duttons' ancestors who travel from Texas to Montana, because the Duttons have been based in Montana for, however many years, I guess 150 years. I'm trying to do the math in my head. And so it's basically them, like the Duttons family, the original family, I guess, going from Texas to Montana, and where they set up in Montana, and where I guess they'll eventually get the ranch in Montana, and there'll be generations and generations of Duttons and whatnot, and it's set in Texas, and the character James Dutton, who's played by Tim McGraw, I think his name is. He's a country singer, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest country singers of all time.
Yeah, I don't listen to country music, so I had no idea who he was. But
look, if you're gonna put a country singer in a show, like, what better show than something like
a
this,
Western?
Right? Yeah.
He's been acting the last few years, actually, and he's pretty good. So he's actually got some solid.
He's not too bad.
Shows.
He's not too bad. He plays like this really rough. He's obviously the Dutton ancestor, the main Dutton ancestor, and it's him and his wife and their daughter, the really young teenage daughter or whatever, and they're the main Dutton family that the story kind of revolves around. But you've also got Sam Elliott and his mate. I can't remember his name. I think his name's Thomas, but I can't remember the actor's name. And Sam Elliott plays a character who, again, I can't remember the character's name, which is kind of weird because... Anyway, them two, the main thing is them two kind of link up with the Duttons, and they also link up with a bunch of immigrants, and they all travel north. Sam Elliott wants to travel to, I think it's Oregon, and obviously the Duttons want to go to Montana, which they're both kind of close on the northwest of America. And yeah, it's just good. Like, it's just a Western, and it's just very good. It's very interesting. It's a bit talky at times, and I think it's just trying to, like, get it going, because they've just started heading north, and yeah, I really enjoy it. Like, I like Westerns. I know that's not a very, I guess, popular genre nowadays. I think it's kind of died down, but I've always really enjoyed Westerns. I don't know why. They they intrigued me. They're interesting. Yeah, it's very, very interesting. I think Taylor Sheridan, who obviously did this show, he's kind of setting up his own Marvel
Cinematic
type
universe.
thing. Yeah, so he's got Yellowstone, then he's got 1883, which is a prequel, 150 years before. But then he's got this other this other spin-off coming out called 6666, which is taking place on another ranch, because there's a character in Yellowstone who goes to this new ranch, and they're doing like a whole spin-off show of that. So they're showing that off as well. So he's got like his own Taylor Sheridan, Yellowstone, It seems like a lot of shows nowadays are just kind of ripping off Marvel, kind of doing that thing.
It's long form storytelling. When you've got a fan invested, why not? I'm surprised Breaking Bad doesn't have another spin-off yet. Or I know The Walking Dead had a spin-off show called Fear the Walking Dead, which is the most confusing name ever. But they also had... and apparently we're meant to get 3 made-for-TV movies about Rick Grimes that we still haven't got. Apparently The Walking Dead has 100 spin-offs planned, so yay! I'm really looking forward to that. I'm sure everybody can't wait for more Walking Dead.
I stopped that show so long ago. I think it was around the time when Negan first appeared. And he battered someone to death, but you don't see it. And you're like, man, that's just... I'm so fucking done with this show.
I never even started it because I knew that they were going to take it too far. And then it was just going to dip at some point.
The Walking Dead had the earliest seasons, especially... What's the one with the governor? Is that season 3 or 4?
3. 3 and 4.
That was amazing. It was great, but they had problems from get-go because season 2... I think halfway through or something, they fired their director, who's still suing them, and there's a whole bunch of stuff there.
Frank Darabont, who did the Shawshank.
Yeah, but there's still I think The Walking Dead came out in a time where shows was stopping being procedurally written, and they were getting it was getting the more HBO sort of stuff like Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones and all that stuff, but there was still, I know what it's like now because I stopped years ago, but they still had a little bit of the old school ways, and it became very predictable because you knew every mid-season finale, a character would die. Every finale, a character would die. Every season premiere, good chance someone would die or something major would happen. You wouldn't know who would die, but you knew when someone would die. The structure of the season became very obvious, and it was a shame. It was great at one point.
It was. I thought the first 2 or 3 seasons were really good, and then the quality just fucking dipped. And you know what I think? They stretched it out to 16, 20 episodes or whatever, and I feel like almost all the episodes, besides the opener, mid-season finale, and finale, all the rest is just so much filler. Like a typical Walking Dead episode for me, I'll be on my iPad for 49 out of the 50 minutes just looking up Facebook or something because I'm so fucking bored. There's nothing happening.
But then when the last 10 minutes happen, you put your phone down because something twist will happen in the last 10 minutes, and there you go. Look, I think we just summed up every season of The Walking Dead in 60 seconds there. Go us. But look, moving on though, speaking of shows that are that were popular, here's a show that's popular right now. Currently number 1 on Netflix, Emily in Paris. Adrienne, you were telling us off air how much you love this show, and there's a new season out. Let us know your thoughts.
Oh, my thoughts. They're just endless. I'm obsessed with Emily in Paris. I don't care whatever flack this show gets because it's cheesy. It was created by Darren Star, who did Sex and the City, Beverly Hills 90210, Melrose Place. So he's really iconic for creating these catalyst sort of shows in that realm, that drama, romance sort of realm. But Emily in Paris just fulfills every fantasy I've ever dreamed of going to Paris and then getting caught up in some amazing love affair and then having this epic job, and the fashion is actually unreal. I don't think I've ever seen such incredible styling on a film or in a TV show. They've really nailed it. People are so divided by it. It reminds me of remember in I don't know, when Justin Bieber put Baby out and then you have all these fans who love it just because it's fun and then everyone just loves to hate it. It's sort of like that as a TV show. But I love all the actors and I'm a big fan of Lily Collins. And I think it's really good. I watched the first season 4 times. It became my comfort show. And almost every time was a one sitting mission.
Wow.
The episodes are like 30 minutes, so it's super easy to breeze through.
Yeah.
And I knew that when I sat down and pressed play on season 2, episode 1, it was going to be another one sit situation. And I did. I completed it in one go.
Wow. Can I ask, why is it so polarizing?
It's just one of those things. I think it's like, well, I don't know.
What's its main criticisms? Because you make it sound like a lot of people dislike it.
There is a big divide with this show. I just think that people love to find anything to complain about, and I don't see any problem with any of the characters. Like, there's a huge range of them, like from all sorts of backgrounds, and of course Emily's going to be a stock standard Midwestern US gal who moves from Chicago to Paris to highlight how sort of boring like her life was. She's not going to be like some 50 layered I don't know, like Academy Award winning character. It's literally just there to feed your fantastical imagination, to take you away from like everyday life.
It's a feel good show, and a feel good show doesn't need layers.
Yes, and it's just so good. Like, the writing is great because at the end of every episode, you genuinely need to know what's going to happen because there are so many things going on. Like, she's in love with her French best friend's boyfriend, who she didn't know was her friend's boyfriend until like the end of season 1. So that sort of stuff, oh my gosh, it reels you in. So yeah, I'm going to watch it again, probably 3 more times. So,
well, first of all, it sounds like the girliest show I've ever heard. So congratulations. But also, feel-good shows are important, and I would say I would say easy to watch shows are really important.
Yes.
Not everything has to be this, incredibly complex thing. What I love to do, like comedy shows, I like shows I could have in the background and I can still watch now and then. I don't know if it's the same with you, but like back in the day, the DC CW superhero shows were like that for me. Now it's a lot of like single camera comedy shows you'll see on Netflix, or even adult animated cartoons like Rick and Morty and Archer, and as I just talked about recently in Inside Job, which was so good. It's look. There's no shame. Yeah, there's no shame in loving a show that is a popcorn show. It's the same reason that Fast and Furious has any fans, because if we were looking for something layered, no one would like that show, like that movie franchise. But sometimes you just want to, like, boys just want to see like muscly cars making explosions, and that's enough for us. Just like a lot of girls out there will love to see a very cheesy and generic rom-com. It's the same 100%. Level of comfort. I don't mean to gender anything there, but yeah.
But I have literally zero shame. Like, rom-coms are one of my favorite. Like how Jessie loves westerns, I really do love romantic comedies as much as any other film. Like, that's what I love to take me away. So, yeah,
look,
it's really good.
Rom-coms, when done right, are the freaking best. I have no shame in that. And if you dislike that, then bro, you just hate love. And if you hate love, you're just a hater, fam. You're just a hater. And there's no point in being a hater. Trust me.
Is it like that, similar to that other show? What's that one? Oh no, it's probably not as raunchy. Like, what's that show that every chick was obsessed with? It was like Love, Sex, or something like that. Or
Sex Life.
Yeah,
oh
Sex
my
Life,
god, that was so good. I also binged that as well in a sitting. It hooks you in. You can't help it.
You know what? It's for a lot of people as well. Reality TV is right now. My missus has gone from watching really scary, in-depth true crime docos, and now she's gone through complete opposite. She's loving reality shows. Real Housewives of Melbourne is a big one playing.
Oh wow.
There's a big
180
one on Netflix called Selling Sunset, which is people just selling. It's meant to be about selling expensive houses.
Is that the Sydney property one?
No, but it's basically the same thing, but in LA. I think it's LA.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It's basically the same shit, but I this show, it pisses me off. In fact, it pisses her off too, because we just want to see the big mansions that they're selling, but like every now and then they just stop and like these girls just start bitching about each other. It's like, wow, well, fucking Cindy didn't invite me to the party. Well, Cindy says she did. Oh, well, fucking Jessica said this shit. Well, Jessica slept my ex-husband. And it's like, I don't believe, like, I know it's reality, but I don't believe any of this. And we're both there just like, we're both sitting there just like, where's the house? We want to see the mansion. Like,
I guarantee you those plot points are written out like months in advance. It is so it's actually more intricately scripted than probably most fictional shows that you watch. Like, I actually
read up about Selling Sunset, and apparently the entire real estate community in that area, like they say, it's a real company, but no one has ever seen those girls selling any houses anywhere. It's like, okay, interesting. And they always give you the illusion that celebrities hang out with, like, oh, this guy's friends with, I don't know, Timothée Chalamet. And it's like, okay, well, where's Timothée Chalamet? I want to see the celebrity cameo.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some trailers. Speaking of celebrities, killing it with the segues. Speaking of celebrities and massive houses and massive talent, guys, if you haven't seen it, stop the podcast now. Watch the trailer for The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. It's about Nicolas Cage playing himself, and it's like he just got the memo. Like he knows what people want from him now.
He really does. I think this plot line is going to be mental because he gets hired by a billionaire fan who ends up being like a drug lord. So the CIA gets Nicolas Cage to infiltrate his party and get information on him to take him down. So, and because Nicolas Cage is running out of money and he's in a shit ton of debt for living in like some really expensive penthouse.
Which is true. In real life, that happened. That happened. So.
I heard him talk about it. It's actually incredibly true. And then apparently as well in the film, to be able to, take on the role of his life because his life is sort of at stake, he actually takes on the persona of actual characters he's played in other films to entertain the billionaire.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
I think when you watch the trailer and you see him sort of lose his shit, it's going to be him ripping on a scene that he's done in another film, which is incredible.
I have one concern about this movie. All right? Now, this sounds like everything we've ever wanted. It sounds like all the memes come to life. But be careful what you wish for. When a lot of the times I feel like celebrities and TV shows know what you want, they'll give it to you, but it kind of kills the joke. And that's what I'm scared for. Like, my favorite example is Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. Because everyone always said, like, it's not about cars, it's a superhero movie. So Hobbs and Shaw is basically a superhero comedy, and it's without a doubt in my mind the worst Fast and Furious movie. It's like, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad, but I think it's my least favorite. And I think it's because for me, it's like, I can't laugh at you if you're also laughing at yourself now. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And there are other examples I could probably think of too. I'm really trying not to
exactly where you're going.
Yeah. I'm really trying not to ruin the Matrix review that I've got coming up because, oh boy, I got stuff to say. And Jesse, what are your opinions of this trailer?
Oh yeah, this was like out of the trailers we watched, this was by far like I'm so pumped to watch this. It literally feels like a meme. And I love the dynamic between Pedro Pascal and Nicolas Cage, and I did read that thing about how he's going to be playing characters, as 80 said, from previous films like Con Air and stuff like that. So I'm so down for this. And to be honest, I feel like Nicolas Cage is he's come back on a resurgence a little bit, you know, with some of these recent films. Like, I reviewed Pig earlier this year, and that was really good, and Mandy. So yeah, I'm totally down for it, and it comes across as hilarious. You know, you saw me laughing, Matt, when I was watching the trailer. I was like,
yeah. Look, like, for every good one though, remember, like, he very recently did Jiu-Jitsu, which was universally panned. I haven't seen
that yet.
I don't know anyone who's seen it, but I've never seen anyone say anything nice about it. It looks incredibly bad. It also looks like whoever made it doesn't know what jiu-jitsu is, which is a mindfuck. But also he did, you know what, this isn't a bad film, actually. This is great, and I've actually spoken to the director of it, but Willy's Wonderland. What's cool about that film is, like, again, it seems like Nick now knows. He knows what the mainstream want from him. And I think he picked that project with that in mind, and I feel like this one, you know, it's written for him. So what I'm hoping for, that this is like the Spider-Man No Way Home, the end game of Nicolas Cage.
Oh my god, that's the perfect analogy.
Yeah, it's got to be a celebration of Nick Cage, which is, I guess, hard to do when he's celebrating himself. But who else could pull that off other than Nicolas Cage? You know,
no one. My expectations are they're astronomical. I just am hoping that it ends up being my favorite movie of the year. Like, that it's that good. So, fingers crossed.
Yeah, look, a decent, what do you call it? Decent supporting cast too. I'm just trying to find it here on IMDb.
You got Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, like, I don't know how big of a role a lot of these people will be. Like, I'm guessing Pedro Pascal has a rather large role.
Yeah.
We also got
Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember the name of the guy in the car who says he's seen Con Air. He's really good. He killed it in Blockers with John Cena. Unbearable. Wait, I'm gonna find his name.
Yeah,
He's really funny. I don't know how much. His name is. I'm pulling it up here. Not Tiffany Haddish, but she's in this too. Mm-hmm. His name is. There's a listener just screaming his name. It's not. His name is. Well, I'm just typing Blockers here.
Yeah, let's just go down that avenue.
Oh yes, I know the guy you're talking about. I remember the guy.
The guy I'm talking about's name is. Oh, he's still not. He's never top billed.
Which is not fair, because he's actually.
He's great.
Yeah.
I can't find. He kind of looks like some like Mark Wahlberg. Like, he could be Mark Wahlberg's stunt double. I can't find him. Anyway, what is this man's name?
Yeah,
I give up.
Is it Ike Barinholtz?
Ike. Yeah, that's the guy. Well, yeah. Actually, I think it is.
Because I remember he had a really funny name. So
that's it.
Yeah.
What? He was in Suicide Squad? Oh, that's right. He was in Suicide Squad.
He was. He's doing so many things, but it's going to be so good.
He's an underrated comedic actor for sure. He needs to be more recognized. Again, in Blockers, he stole the show at one particular point. He was great. Look, any other thoughts other than this being the greatest movie of all time before we move on?
No. It looks great.
Not off the top of my head, but everyone needs to watch the trailer.
Yeah.
They really do.
All right, and our second topic for today is Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Now, in case you've missed out on previous episodes, you can find a clip on our TikTok even. Full disclosure, I do not know much about Harry Potter. I've seen like half the second one, and that's it. Please don't turn off the podcast. I know you're mad at me, but the reaction you face right now, that's the reason why I don't watch it. It's so hilarious. I know. Calm down. It's okay. It's okay, listener. Not everybody has seen every movie. It's all right. But look, I'll say this trailer looks fun. I actually really like the score. I thought the score was great. I'm sure there's a million references I don't get. Before we get into this trailer, Jesse and 80, can you educate me as someone who's not from the Harry Potter world, as a muggle? Can you please educate this muggle? what is the general reception to Fantastic Beasts? Is it like The Hobbit with Lord of the Rings, where people are like, it's all right. Like, I know there was controversy with Johnny Depp, but like, do Harry Potter fans lose their shit over this stuff?
In my opinion, I think you nailed it with the Hobbit analogy.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I personally don't really care for it at all. The first one was fine. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't mind-blowing. And then the second one was just a little bit, like, it was okay.
I heard the second one got like a lot of negative reviews. Like, people were slamming it.
I don't know if it deserves to get like slammed, but it's not really memorable, and I don't know.
Did they replace They replaced Johnny Depp. Is that because of the Amber Heard thing, or
they
was that something unrelated?
Because of a lawsuit he had with the Daily Mail, or was it the Daily Mail? I can't remember. But he was in the midst of a lawsuit, which he later ended up going through another one again, and then he ended up being able to sue. I can't remember like the full details right now, but before
this guy can't catch a break.
He can't catch a break. And you know what? The name of the actor, the new actor.
Is it Mads Mikkelsen?
Yeah, Mads Mikkelsen.
Yes, I love him.
I knew something. I knew something.
You did. I really love him. He's never, for me, like never faulted by even a half a percentile on any performance he's given. So if someone was going to replace him, he would be perfection. I even think Johnny would like have no qualms because he's so good.
So again, I haven't seen it, but like I feel like Mads Mikkelsen though is so different to Johnny Depp. Like I feel like so I'm guessing it's a very different performance. Like if I wanted to replace Johnny Depp, I'd pick, I don't know, Russell Brand or I don't know, someone else.
Maybe not Russell Brand.
He's too hard to like just replace.
Or,
I think.
You know what I mean? You need some of that loosey-goosey vibe. Like I don't care if it's
I think he just has that that demeanor that the character requires, especially as a villain. He's so good at playing villains, and he also, I think, has a similar facial structure. So it probably blends a little bit better than if you had Russell Brand going in as Grindelwald.
Yeah. Look, Mads Mikkelsen, he's a great guy for a villain. Like, he is Hannibal. He's done was it Rogue One? He was in a Star Wars. He was a bad guy in Star Wars.
Was he?
He was in Rogue One.
I don't even remember.
He was Rogue One.
Yeah, he was the. I think he was the. Wasn't he the father of the main character or something? Or
that's right. He wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy. But
he wasn't in it for very long though.
No,
like
he got killed off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in a handful of scenes. Look, he is a like he looks like a bad guy. Like he's great.
He does.
I love to see him in is it Giancarlo Esposito? Guy who plays Gus from
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito. That's right. Those two need a bad guy off. You know,
that'd be really cool.
That'd be great.
Are you a fan, Jesse, of the Fantastic Beasts?
I actually haven't seen any of them. I've only seen the Harry Potter movies.
You haven't seen Fantastic Beasts? Oh my god! I can't. See how dumb it sounds? See how dumb? You guys get mad at me for not seeing Harry Potter, but no one sees Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah, but
like,
like to me, Fantastic Beasts seems like it's like The Hobbit, like you said, Matt, but to me, I feel like it's even less important in relevance to the main story. So in comparison to the importance of The Hobbit to the Lord of the Rings, Fantastic Beasts is to the Harry Potter franchise. Because like I've watched all the Harry Potter films, obviously, and to be honest,
like everyone else,
controversial opinion, but I feel like the quality in the Harry Potter movies dips towards the tail end of the movies.
It's because they changed directors too many damn times.
Yeah, I feel like around about the Order of the Phoenix is for me when the quality of the Harry Potter movies dips.
Like a graph.
Well, you know what? Actually, this is. I hope it's not too off topic, but the other day, my partner Kate, she's watching Harry Potter and Chamber of Secrets for like the millionth time.
I love that movie.
And so I look it up. I'm like, oh, it's by Chris Columbus, right? Christopher Columbus.
That's
Chris
right.
Columbus. One of them's the explorer, the other one's the filmmaker. So Chris Columbus, I'm like, oh, damn, babe, you know this guy also directed Home Alone 1 and 2, which are two of your favorite, and wrote Home Alone 3, which are like some of your favorite movies ever. Oh, okay. And I'm like, and another movie she loves is Christmas with the Cranks, which he also wrote. I'm like, babe, and he also wrote The Goonies, which she loves.
That's right, yes!
And
One
I'm
of my
like,
all-time
babe,
favorites.
and I was like, babe, I don't think you know this, but your favorite director is Chris Columbus. He's like, hey, no, it's like, he's directed all your favorite movies.
Yeah.
You did the first 2 Harry Potters. I was reading online, it's really interesting. He like campaigned to death to do the first one. Apparently it was like the only book he could get his kids to read. And then I think he did when they were like trying to just pick directors,
He got
did
his kids to help.
Yeah, and apparently did an entire script rewrite for free as a way to pitch to Warner Brothers. And at this point, like, he doesn't need to do shit for free. He did Home Alone, you know, he did so many classics, and they're like, okay, this is why you get the first. And he said he liked the first 2, so he had a special connection with them. See, I can talk about Harry Potter. I don't have to watch it.
Like controversial opinion, but Chamber's actually my favorite Harry Potter. Everyone loves.
Controversial.
Everyone said no. Prisoner of Azkaban is the best Harry Potter, and there's no other acceptable opinion. Like I always hear that from people, and it's like, I like Chamber. One? That's the third one. Yeah.
The third.
Okay, because let me guess this. Okay, guy doesn't know Harry Potter, guesses all the movies. Okay, I think I know them. Okay, first one is Philosopher's Stone, but in some countries it's Sorcerer's Stone.
Nah, you fucked up. I'm just joking.
What?
I'm just you
no,
got it right.
I got it right. Second one is Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is the Secrets of Dumbledore the Chamber of Secrets, or is that a different thing?
You have to answer that, Adrian, because you'd know better than I would.
No, I think that's different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the Sorcerer's Stone and Philosopher's Stone. Then it goes Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah.
Then the third one, we just said a second ago, Prisoner of Alcatraz, Azkaban.
Azkaban.
Yeah. The fourth one
they just move Alcatraz to like the Harry Potter universe. Like just put it right outside of Hogwarts.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
Children, the school has flooded this year. We're gonna move premises to Alcatraz. just
and the fourth one is the dragon on the cover, but you said
that's my fave. Is Goblet of Fire actually? Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say a completely different name. You gave it to me.
Damn it.
Goblet of Fire. Okay. So I was going to say it was the Order of the Phoenix, but is that the fifth one?
Yeah.
Okay, because I almost got that wrong, so you helped me out there. And then is the next one the last one?
No. There's 3 to go.
Okay. There's Deathly Hallows, but that's the last one, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What comes after the Phoenix? What's on the cover? Maybe I can remember from childhood.
I don't think you're going to remember from the cover. It's...
Okay. I can probably guess it. It's probably, it's always something of the something or the something. So it's probably like,
It's not actually.
Okay.
It's and the Harry Potter and the...
And the Harry Potter and the...
There's
and
royalty.
the Cursed Child? No. Cursed Child's the play, right?
No,
Harry Potter and the Curse of Voldemort.
Okay,
right?
it's something and Prince.
The Prince and the Prince of Azkaban.
No. It's something. It's something. Then Prince.
I give up. What is it?
Half-Blood Prince.
Half-Blood Prince. That's Harry because he's a half. No. Someone else. Is there another one? Is that all the movies?
The other 2 are like Deathly Hallows Part 1 and 2. So that's the last 2.
And then there's Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is the first one.
Yeah.
And the second one is the last one, and that's I don't know. It's probably. Fantastic
I don't even remember
Beasts
that. I don't even know what that's called.
I'm just going to say that one night we are going to go to a Harry Potter trivia night and you're going to answer everything. You're going to be the only person giving the answers because I need to see what you're going to write down. It's going to be so amazing.
Look,
20 times better than the Grindelwald movies.
What's a Grindelwald?
Oh, boy.
Is that the director?
Yeah.
Is that the director?
Yes, Matthew. That's a director.
So he doesn't have a first last name. His name's like Grindelwald. Directed by Grindelwald.
Oh, boy.
He's just trolling you, Adrian.
I really hope so, because this is actually painful.
I don't know what a Grindelwald is. Is it like a Dobby?
I don't want cat. Oh god.
Also,
Is it like
can I say what's up with? So, how long does this take place before Harry Potter?
I think it's like 100. It's sort of like if you go back to the 1920s. I think it's in the 20s. So
Right,
Harry Potter was
okay.
sort of real time with us. So Harry Potter was what, 1999 or 2000 or something.
Gee, so how old was, because Jude Law plays Dumbledore? How old's Dumbledore supposed to be in?
He's 100 and... Hang on, let me look it up.
Well, that's the good thing with old people in fantasy movies. You can just say they're 1,000 and it'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the prequel takes place 2 decades ago. Fine, whatever.
He is... Why is no one telling me? What is the age of Dumbledore? He's 116 at the time of his death.
Right, okay.
But he was about... Apparently in the books, he was 150. So I'm not sure.
Wow.
He was born in 1881. So if that's the 20s, I suppose he's 40 or so in that series.
Wow. How many more Fantastic Beasts movies are we getting? Do we know?
Hopefully one, and then they just stop. Because like, it's not... it's... I don't know. I'm really sorry. But
You're not a fan.
I just don't... It's not that I hate them. I just don't care. There's just not... After
See, I know-
Harry Potter, how are you supposed to captivate people at the same level? It's really fucking hard and almost impossible to do.
Guys, to wrap this up, here's what we're going to do. As a non-Harry Potter watcher, I'm going to come up with 5 predictions of what the next Fantastic Beast movie is called. And you guys are going to rate it out of 10, the likelihood. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
I don't know why I'm rating this because I haven't seen any of them. So.
All right. Okay. All right. Fantastic Beasts and the Wrath of Dobby.
That would be...
Dobby's like the Pokemon guy, right?
Sure.
He's dead. He's dead, mate.
Oh, is he? Oh, well, it's a prequel. He could be like born a million years ago or
He
some
could
shit.
be baby Dobby. Okay, sure, that's great.
okay.
I'd watch it.
It'll be like Baby Yoda, but it'll be Baby Dobby. There you go.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Okay, that's one. What next one? Fantastic Beasts and the Fantastic Beasts and the Rise of the Muggles. Fantastic Beasts, Rise of the Muggles.
All right.
I don't know what that would be about. Okay.
So humans are pissed. Okay, we could go down that avenue.
Fantastic Beasts and Fantastic
You're
Beasts.
struggling, mate. You're struggling.
And I'm just trying to think of references here. Okay. Fantastic Beasts. The Fall of Hogwarts.
Ooh,
There we go. It's
that
always the
sounds-
fall of something, the rise of something. There we
that
go.
sounds really cool. I would.
That's actually a good title.
Yeah.
I got how many more do I get? One or two?
Just do one more.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Fuck Them.
Whoa! I was
That's the
not
porn parody.
expecting
I don't
that.
know.
I feel
don't
like
know.
that'll do very well. I feel like it will make.
That sounds like the porn parody version.
I don't know. I'm just being a dick at this point. I'm sorry. Look, let's move on. Look, the trailer looks good. I will eventually
looks
watch
good.
it. I'm sure.
You gotta watch Harry Potter first, okay? You can't cross that bridge until you watch those movies.
I'll get around to it one day. Okay. Our last trailer for today. Speaking of Mads Mikkelsen, he was in the first one of the following. And speaking of sorcerers and wizards and shit, we got a new trailer for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. People saw Spider-Man saw this at the end. And going from someone who's never seen Harry Potter to a guy who's pretty much never watched or has barely seen any Marvel movies. Jesse, what are your impressions of... You know what? First of all, what do you know about Doctor Strange?
He does magic. He's a sorcerer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's played by Benedict Cumberbatch.
So far, so good.
He had a thing with Peter Parker in that No Way Home movie.
Yeah, the thing. You make it sound like they had an affair.
I don't know much else about him, man. He does cool magic stuff.
Yeah. What are your impressions of this trailer?
I mean, yeah. It looked interesting. It looked like he was about to fight an evil clone or something like that. Is the multiverse like the thing where it's like, oh, we can go to any dimension? It reminds me of like that Futurama episode where they. Was that Futurama? So they go to all the different multiverses and stuff like that. Is that kind of? Am I on the right track here? By the way, can I just ask? I have watched some Marvel movies. I'm not totally.
I
I mean,
for the record, which ones have you seen?
I'm pretty clueless, but I'm not that clueless. I've seen the first Iron Man, which I would say is actually a good movie. I actually enjoyed.
It's great. Still one of the best, arguably.
I've seen Iron Man 3. I've seen Incredible Hulk. I've seen The Avengers. I've seen Captain America, Winter Soldier. I've seen. Oh god, there's got to be others. I just can't think of at the moment. I've seen a few others. I can't remember them all at the moment.
So it's been a while since you've seen one. It sounds like.
Yeah, this is like all that like first. What do they call it? Like
the first phase. Yeah.
Yeah,
phase
like
one.
first, second phase or whatever it is. So that's where I've watched most of them.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, Adrienne. Well, Adri. Okay, that's a new name.
Adri. Some people have called me that before. I have many nicknames.
Okay. What do you reckon?
I think it's me. Look, there's no way this is not going to be a fucking great movie. Doctor Strange came for me out of nowhere, knocked me off my feet, and he's becoming probably my favorite Marvel character. It looks so good, and Benedict is one of those actors where, I mean, I think that he will genuinely only choose something, even if the paycheck is good, he'll only touch it if there's a lot for him to work with and to bring to the surface, and he does that so amazing. He does it, I think, better than anyone else. He makes his character so real, and you actually feel like you've gone on his entire journey with him. His acting's incredible. I'm really excited. It looks phenomenal, and it's going to be really fun to see him bring a villainous side out as well, because he's very good at doing that too.
You didn't watch all of What If, did you?
No, I did not.
So I'm gonna reveal something to you, which will, if you're ready. So that villainous Doctor Strange comes from What If. So this is the first time we're seeing an animated character come through, and it's honestly probably the best episode. You had a Doctor Strange multiverse episode, and he's way more powerful than normal Doctor Strange, because the plot of that is, the idea is, what if in the first Doctor Strange movie, instead of was it letting go of that love of his life who dies or whatever, or what it, what was something like, instead of trying to fix his hands, he tried to like save her life or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the whole thing, but basically he just goes down still sorcery path, but he just goes into this other dimensions, finds other monsters and absorbs their powers, and he becomes super evil. And yeah, he's basically just evil Doctor Strange. But it's going to be exciting to see him on screen, see Doctor Strange fight himself. I think will be cool.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely nuts, and he's so incredibly powerful and smart. I was just going to say quickly, Jesse, have you seen the first Doctor Strange?
No.
You really genuinely should. Even like as an actor, he's amazing. He's a perfect example of like.
Yeah, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is like generally he's a good actor, and I have watched him in a lot of other stuff that he's done. But he's
more likely to win Best Actor for another role, to be honest.
Yes,
but look,
so
I'll say the first 15 minutes of the first Doctor Strange, I love. Like, I wouldn't put up with like the opening montage of Up or anything like that, but it's I really love that. The way they set him up in that. To be honest, I used to find his American accent a little annoying, but it's grown on me. I brought this up in the previous episode we had, guys, which was a bonus episode we had with our friend Russell from See-Through Screen, where we just talked about the new Spider-Man movie. But it's a clip we just posted online recently, but I'd just like to bring this up again. What's really interesting about Doctor Strange character, we knew straight away, like, Marvel wanted him to be the next Iron Man or whatever. But just to get an idea of how much they've set him up, Doctor Strange has only had one movie. This is going to be second. But we've seen him since in Avengers Infinity War, Endgame, Ragnarok, What If, and Spider-Man No Way Home. So we've seen a lot of him. And his partner in crime, Wong, has been in even more movies. He was in the end of Shang-Chi, and he was also... Actually, there was a Shang-Chi. I feel like he was in something else too. But whatever. Like, we've seen... Benedict's presence in the Marvel Universe has been very wide over the last 5 years. So I'm really excited to finally see Doctor Strange not in an origin story, leading a film and seeing him unleashed. Because his fight scene in Infinity War was amazing. He grew all those arms. He's doing all this like with the hand stuff. So cool. Like I'm 100% down for that. There's a little shot in this, blink and you'll miss it. I'm very excited for. But you'll see there's a monster. He's like an eye with these tentacles. That's pronounced, I think, Shumagorath, who's a very deep cut, but fighting game fans will know him from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. So that's a bit exciting. And also, I'm really keen to see Wanda from WandaVision in this. Like,
me too. I adore her. I think she was another character when I first saw her. I went, I don't really get the point of you being in this universe, but okay. And then she just catapulted into being someone I really cared about.
Yeah, I think Joss Whedon really loved her character and really wanted her in Ultron. And at the time, there's a lot of debate about using her because is she a Avenger? Is she an X-Men? Because she's technically, in the comics, she's Magneto's daughter. So, like, that was a whole legal thing there. But it feels like only recently they've managed to tap into the potential of that character. Because she's meant to be one of the strongest Avengers, you know? We saw her doing some cool magic stuff in Civil War and then Infinity War, and obviously we just had WandaVision, but I feel like now we're going to finally get Wanda the way we need her, you know?
Yeah.
As well.
If she is Magneto's daughter then originally, does that mean that they had to completely erase that fact in these films, or are they just sort of not touching on it?
You have no idea how the can of worms I'll give you the short version. In the MCU, they retconned her powers and Quicksilver's too. There are experiments from Hydra. Like, remember at the end of, what was it? There was Winter Soldier. I think it was the post-credit
It was Captain
scene.
America, yeah.
Yeah. You see them, like, they're being experimented on by Hydra. I think the idea is they got the power from the Tesseract, like Captain Marvel.
Oh, okay.
But around the same time in the comics, what they did to try and fight for the rights, they were like, they released a comic and they're like, actually, it turns out you're not a mutant. You're actually something else. And this whole, like, terrible retcon thing as a way to try and help them push the comics out. And I go, well, no, to push the movies out, because then they were able to go, well, look, it's in the comics, but it's like, you made the comic like last week, dude. Like, it doesn't count. But at the same time, that's where I got Ultron and Days of Future Past. They both had Quicksilver at the same time. Because there was this grey space of, well, they're Avengers, but they're also X-Men. So as long as they don't say they're mutants in the movies. But I'm sure now that Fox's movie division has been dissolved under Disney and we're eventually going to get a new X-Men film, something will happen. They'll do some reference. I don't know what, but it'll probably get touched on within the next 5 years, but we'll see. Maybe they'll ignore it. Okay. But yeah, look, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it'll be awesome. I got one last comment on this. This trailer feels like it was hastily slapped together for me. Like, I feel like, yeah, you get some points here and there, but doesn't really feel. I feel like they're hiding something that they can't show us yet.
Yes, most likely.
I feel like they talk about the multiverse, but you don't really see any multiverse stuff. You just see the bad Doctor Strange. There is a rumor going around. I'll let you know this rumor, 80. You get your reaction live on air. That they're going to do what they did at No Way Home here by introducing multiverse characters from previous films. So we may get Hugh Jackman as Wolverine or the X-Men.
Oh, wow. Okay.
maybe we could get the old Fantastic Four. Maybe some
I could
previous Hulks.
so see that happening. I could absolutely
the
see that
Netflix shows. If it does, this is what I want to happen. There's music's getting crazy, and you see like Doctor Strange, he's like, fought a lot of cool dudes today. Wait, who are you? And you see a hand, and sing, and you see and then that's it. You just see the little Wolverine claws, and that's it. And
can I bring up something? And look, and this is probably gonna get me a ton of hate for saying this. And I know this happened. I know this happened in No Way Home. Is the thing about bringing back characters from previous iterations? Like, for example, in No Way Home, they brought back the previous two Spider-Mans, and you're saying that there's rumor that they're going to bring back possibly the old Fantastic Four and Hugh Jackman as the old Wolverine. Do you feel like that in a way could be a cheap way to get people super excited and have super positive reaction to a movie? Now I know that's a controversial thing to say.
No,
because
it's a great
people
point. Do
you know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, look, do you remember this? Do you remember this? Do you remember this from years ago? Yeah, look, how cool is this? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
As South Park put it, the member berries, little berries of memories that you feel good. Look, Spider-Man No Way Home did the impossible. They did a story that, like, the characters, it felt organic to the story. It didn't feel like a forced cameo. It is actually incredible the way they pulled it off. And not only that, we get little bits and things of like what happened after those movies you saw. And it was amazing. Now, about doing it with anyone else. Like, Deadpool kind of had an X-Men cameo for a split second, Deadpool 2, but you are correct. I think if they were just to throw in a cameo for the sake of it from another movie, especially in a movie like Doctor Strange, which isn't really comedic, it's kind of serious, I think they're playing with fire. It could, especially if you get someone from a movie that's not well loved. Like, if you bring in, I don't know, like if they brought in like Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern.
Yeah, I was about to use that example.
No one wants to see that, you know.
Unless they killed him by accident or something.
I don't even think Ryan Reynolds would want to see that.
Yeah. I almost did it in Deadpool 2. I got close, but look, I feel like it's the only way if you get Hugh Jackman's Wolverine back. So either you do it through this or you do it in a Deadpool movie as a joke. That's it. To be honest, though, a lot of the older Marvel movies, I don't want to see them come back. I don't want the old Fantastic Four. I don't want the old Daredevil. I don't really care too much about Lou Ferrigno's Hulk. I mean, it was good back in like the 70s, 80s, or whatever the fuck it was. But I don't want to see that shit now. I got CGI. I'd rather see Eric Banner, you know?
Yeah.
But we're not getting Eric Banner. But it does make you wonder. I think the thing with the multiverse is, I think what excites people is the opportunity. But what are they going to do with the opportunity? Are they going to bring in Sony characters? And is that going to do some weird shit? Are they going to do some other stuff? I don't know. But it's exciting. But I think for the average fan, they see it, they clap, I know that guy, and they're happy, and that's it. But it's I think like, for anyone...
And they go, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10, I love this, 10 out of 10.
Exactly.
Best movie I ever saw. And it's like, dude, like, maybe analyze a bit more before, Yeah,
but in reality, like, that doesn't make a movie good. And like, I'll be honest, actually, you got me thinking here. One of the big problems with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness is it just going to be Spider-Man No Way Home again? Because they've already brought in the cameos. They already did, I made a mistake, now I got to fix the multiverse. They literally just did that. And like the reason it's happened here is like this is like cleaning up the mess from the last movie. But yeah,
I have faith. I don't think they'll fuck it up. I think they'll know when is a good time to do that sort of thing again, and like when you need a break.
Yeah, like look, it's Marvel. Marvel is smart. Kevin Feige, have faith in Feige, I say.
Yeah.
But you know,
Faith in
maybe
time.
it's a chance. Maybe it's a chance to get rid of some other characters. Like if they thought Eternals did bad, they'd go, "Oh, sorry, they're in another universe now." I don't know, but probably not because I think it was shot way before. But you never know, and that's what's exciting is we have no idea what to expect, but the opportunities are there. They could also just open up some portals and some monsters come in, and that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe the only multiverse thing we get is bad Doctor Strange. Who knows? We've gotten a lot less leaks from this movie than we did for Spider-Man, so it's really hard to say, but I guess we'll find out. Let's move on, guys. It is now time for our film discussions. Let's get into it. Spoiler alert! The following film discussions will contain spoilers. Dune, The Matrix Resurrections, The French Dispatch, and Don't Look Up. If you don't want to be spoiled, then check out the time codes in the description below. This is your spoiler warning. You've been warned. Alright guys, it is now time for our review discussions. I don't like saying review, our film discussions. But spoiler alert, actually not really spoiler alert, just here's a little notification, little thing for you guys to know. With Dune, we've technically already covered this before. But Matt, you said, I don't remember you covering Dune. Well, remember how we released an episode of Spider-Man No Way Home instead of a normal episode? Well, we planned to do 2 episodes that week, but we had some technical issues. That's why we haven't covered Spider-Verse or Sonic 2, but we'll cover them eventually another time. But we really thought it'd be great to talk about Dune still, because Dune is Dune. I think we all can agree it's one of our favorite movies of the year. So let's just get into it real quick before we get into The Matrix, French Dispatch, and Don't Look Up. Who wants to go first? Who wants to talk about Dune first?
I'll go, I guess. Yeah, I'll go.
Said with confidence.
Yeah.
Say with confidence. Yeah. So guys, if we seem a little bit like, I don't know, I don't seem to be getting real deep, it's because we've already talked.
We've already reviewed it before.
We've done it before.
Yeah. But we want to chat about it with you guys because we love you.
So happy to talk about it again though, because I loved it. I thought it was flawless in every single aspect. My favorite part was the use of real prosthetics and makeup as opposed to CGI, as well as the sets that made it have that grandeur it's supposed to have, because it's a big book. It's a really big story, and that's what it needs to make it feel super real. And Denis Villeneuve has said in multiple interviews how he grew up with the book from about 6 years old, and you can feel the love that he has for it in every single bit of effort he put into it. I loved the acting. I loved the characters. Like, even the villains were incredible. Skarsgård was disgusting and slimy and creepy, and I'm really looking forward to... Look, I don't know the ending, but I hope that there's a really intense demise for his character. I thought Timothée Chalamet carried the film really effortlessly, and I was just blown away. For me, it didn't feel like a 3-hour film. I was happy to keep going. I was just sitting there waiting for more.
What about you, Jesse?
Yep, exact same feelings. I loved it. I said in the last review, when we reviewed it the other 2 weeks ago, that it felt like more... I don't know anything about the past of it. I haven't read the Frank Herbert novels or anything like that. But I do love Denis Villeneuve, and I did say in the last podcast, to me, he's one of the best modern day Hollywood directors, in my opinion. So visually, it looked absolutely amazing. The characters were all intriguing. I thought Stellan Skarsgård, his villain was so interesting. I loved sort of the visual, because Denis Villeneuve is very visual heavy, and his character was just so interesting, captivating, and there was interesting creature designs, and I was just invested throughout the whole thing. I think the only criticism I had was the lore, which I said was not necessarily a critique of Denis Villeneuve, because Dune has, from what I understand, a lot of lore, and it's quite they'd be talking about stuff that I wouldn't fully understand. I'd kind of get the gist of what they were saying, but it took me a little bit out of it. But that if I had to, that's really the only criticism I could have of the movie. Besides that, I thought it was fantastic. I was captivated. The runtime just flew past for me as well. So I haven't seen the David Lynch version, but I'm kind of interested to see that, even though David Lynch famously hates that he made that movie. Just to compare it. Absolutely fantastic. Probably one of my favorite films of the year, possibly. So
awesome. Yeah, look, I think my in regards to your criticism of the lore, like I get it. It's the same problem I think a lot of people have with Game of Thrones, which is like all these crazy names going back and forth. It was a little hard to follow at times. I think I had a little bit better time like following it than you did, but probably not by much. I think what really helped me was the factions, the families. They were pretty clearly different. So I might not remember the name. I remember they're the good ones, they're the bad ones. Like you have the main good guys, the bad guys look real bad, and then you got like the desert people. So that really helped. But yeah, on top of that, it's a large cast.
It's a lot of characters.
The fact that, but I think it'll be easier going forward since most of them die in this movie. Spoilers! But I was actually disappointed by that because some of them, like for example, Jason Momoa.
Oh, he's so badass. He was so badass. This
best performance I've ever seen him do. I was actually disappointed seeing him die because, and he died like a fucking champ. Like he had such a great. He went out protecting the prince, and
it genuinely sucks that he's not gonna be in the second part.
Yeah, I'm really bummed he's not gonna be in the second one because, like, fuck, you were like one of my favorite parts of this one, but he went out in such a cool way. So it's like he earned the ability not to leave, and obviously, like Oscar Isaac as well. But yeah, while like following that stuff was a little bit of a challenge, I love the lore. I don't know anything about Dune going into this, but I loved learning. I actually really loved how the pacing was so slow. They took your time so you could learn, you could take in the surroundings and the scenery, and it was like, this is what I want Star Wars to do, which is ironic because this helped inspire Star Wars. But with Star Wars, like they visit like 5 planets in a movie. You're at each planet for about 15 minutes. Sometimes they're interesting, but a lot of the times, you don't really see much of it. And this film, we got to see how the life is like and the politics. And I describe it as, and I'm sure others have as well, but it's Star Wars meets Game of Thrones. And it so is.
I said it was an adult Star Wars. It felt like an adult Star Wars to me. And it's the closest thing I've felt to like a Star Wars movie in like years and years and years. So
yeah, and going in, look, I was a little bit reserved because the director Denis Villeneuve, am I saying that right?
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve. Look, I wasn't the biggest fan of Blade Runner 2049.
Ooh,
controversial.
Oh no, I don't hate it. But like it was just, I don't know. Like it set out to be a neo-noir film, and it really accomplished that. But it didn't really click with me for some reason. But I loved Arrival, which he did.
Yeah.
So, but those are both sci-fi films, but they're both very, very different. So I kind of came in not really knowing what to expect, but I was pleasantly surprised. I can't remember the last time I saw a film where I was that engaged all the time. Like I sat next to you, Jess, when I was seeing it.
Yeah.
And there was times I wanted to lean over and whisper to you and say, oh my God, can you believe that? How cool is that? But at the same time, I didn't want to talk to you because I didn't want to miss a freaking microsecond.
Yeah, we just remained quiet throughout the whole movie. So I was
being sucked into the screen. It was amazing.
Can I just bring up a funny thing? I saw this funny meme about about Dune yesterday, and yes, I'm going to use a Simpsons reference, but someone put this hilarious meme up, and it was like that. Do you remember that scene where Marge goes to do the cop training, and that there's that crazy guy's like, enough about the trade. When do we get the freaking guns? And someone put up a meme. It was like, enough about the law. When do we get the freaking worms?
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what though? It goes to show you that a movie of this length can be absolutely as captivating as one that producers might think, let's cut it down, and let's jam everything into one, because people don't have that attention span anymore. Not true.
Yeah, it's like this movie, it's not a popcorn film, which is rare for sci-fi. I think Denis Villeneuve, am I saying it right now?
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve, he's built a good reputation for I do sci-fi, but it's serious. I'm treating it with respect and all that. Like, you don't want this. You wouldn't want him to do Star Wars because. No. Sorry. We would like him to do Star Wars, but Disney would hate him to do Star Wars because he's not the kids. Their attention span is going to last for that. Yeah. Although he could direct the fuck out of The Mandalorian if you let him.
Oh my god, that would be a dream.
Yeah. Because honestly, it feels like The Mandalorian is kind of inspired by this, but this came out later, because it does the same sort of things to some extent, but Dune just does it with such a level of sophistication. In fact, at one point, I was watching it and was sort of thinking to myself, maybe this shouldn't be a movie. Maybe this should be a TV show so you could explore even further. But at the same time, I'm just so grateful it's a movie, because when do you get a movie like this at this level it's like everything that makes a TV show great. Like, you can dive into relationships, you can dive into world building and all that stuff. Like, that's where TV starts to shine. But they were doing that in a movie and they were like, we don't care about the runtime.
Yeah.
We just want you to be encapsulated by it all. And I just can't believe they pulled it off. It is a masterpiece, honestly. And I swear to God, part 2, it better be as good. I'm so excited.
Midnight screening, I'm there. And I have to honestly commend Denis for just letting his sci-fi fanboy come first, because in everything he touches, you can see that it's coming straight from the depths of his soul, which is really, really missing in a lot of movies that get this sort of budget, and he really cares about it.
It's a passion. It's a passion with love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I will admit, I am starting to get sick of the green screen CGI we are starting to see. Even in Spider-Man No Way Home, amazing film, but there are times when this feels a bit too fake for me. And I guess that's why Eternals was such a breath of fresh air. But I would love for more big budget films to take the approach this one did. More prosthetics. Instead of green screen, obviously use the what they call those LED walls they've got now. Just do whatever you can to make it feel more real. Because the way this film did it, the scale of it, everything just felt like it mattered more. And
it's the same with Lord of the Rings, or even Spielberg's films still hold up. I watched Jaws the other week, and those mechanics make it 50,000 times better than any of those Piranha or whatever movies that are out now. Sharknado, I don't even know, but
and the pacing really helps too. Letting the actors chew the scenery, letting them have conversations that are more than just exposition dumps and a little joke here and there. It makes everything feel more real, and this is just a great reminder of how you can do that. Just because it's sci-fi, just because it's fantasy, doesn't mean it has to be a popcorn flick,
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic, shall we? Wish we go. Okay. Okay.
Just do it.
I've hinted at it. I want to rip off the Band-Aid. Guys, I saw Matrix Resurrections today. I haven't had time to fully process it. Maybe I need another watching of it, but I don't want to see it again.
Wow.
So you guys know I'm a huge Matrix fan. Not just the first. I love Reloaded, Revolutions as well. Despite their flaws, I think they are really great. This one is a hard pill to swallow.
Give me the blue intended.
Pill. Yeah, give me the blue pill. Okay, look, it's not all bad. It's not the worst film I've seen this year. You guys know what I think the worst film I've seen this year is. But everything I love about The Matrix, most of it is not seen here in this film. It's a huge swing and a miss, and I appreciate it for taking the big swings. But oh boy, do they miss in some of the parts. It's going to be hard to not spoil it too much, so I may have some light spoilers, but I won't spoil anything major. Okay, so the film is very easily broken up into 3 parts. The first part feels like it goes on for too long, which is getting Thomas Anderson Neo out of the Matrix. Now, admittedly, it starts with a really cool opening scene where Jesse Henwick's character, Bugs, is seeing the first scene of the first Matrix play out, but the people look different, and she's like, what's going on? It's old code, replaying old events, and they're like, what's going on? And they change it up just enough with some new elements. It's like, oh, okay, they're doing a little bit of Force Awakens stuff, but they're acknowledging that the previous events happened, and they're sort of redoing it. So it's like, okay, but then you move away from Bugs and you get to Keanu Reeves, and I'm gonna just rip the band off with a slight spoiler here, guys, but it'll help you understand everything that's kind of wrong with this movie. So Thomas Anderson is a video game developer who famously developed a trilogy of video games called The Matrix.
What?
Yeah.
What?
And those events, and the events of those movies was his video game. And it's kind of like, and then there's a scene where his boss sits him down and goes, look, Warner Brothers wants you to make a Matrix 4. And he's like, but I don't want to make a Matrix 4. That part of my life's behind me. He's like, yeah, maybe let's have a brainstorming session. We've done a focus group. Then he sits down in a focus group with a bunch of people, and they literally just go, what did people like about the first Matrix? Oh, we've got to have lots of bullet time. We've got to have people questioning reality. And they literally, it's just like, it's clearly the director, Lana Wachowski, just being like, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to deal with these fucking annoying executives at Warner Brothers. And they're just listing off everything you'd want in a Matrix sequel, and they're basically saying, we're not going to do this shit as much. And I think it's meant to be comedic, but it's not funny. Like, they are really, that's the big thing about this film. It's all about ripping off the Band-Aid. It's all about, like, ripping off the Band-Aid and just being super meta. And I haven't even scratched the surface yet, guys.
Oh my God.
Wait, so are the Matrix movies just all retconned now because of this movie?
Well, no, because what happens is, without revealing too much, in the trailer you see he's seeing a therapist who's giving him blue pills all the time. This therapist is actually a program called The Analyst, who's like one of the new villains. And he's like a successor to the architect who designed the Matrix. And his goal is that this version of the Matrix, it runs off emotion and keeping people either hopeful or despair, especially Neo and Trinity, who they've rebuilt and using the one powers to run the Matrix. And so he is trying, and he's like, look, you tried to kill yourself at one point, and you just keep taking elements of your life and putting in this video game. So you're confusing reality and what's really happening. But what he doesn't know is that the Matrix movies did happen. They weren't a video game. But his therapist is just drugging him and telling him otherwise. And so his breaking out of the Matrix is him finally taking a red pill and then leaving that. So the first act of this film, it's really weird, dude. But like they do the good stuff of the Matrix by eventually they bring it into some other stuff, and they're like, well, it's all about questioning reality and being controlled and the decision between the illusion of choice and free will versus fate. And they've got all these like big themes that the sequels had. And what they actually do good is, you know, in the sequels where they'll just pause the movie for 20 minutes and then have a philosophy session. Yeah. They'll have that, but it'll only last like 5 minutes. And while they have that, there'll be something going on. Like, the analyst has this ability. He's like, I think he calls it like reverse bullet time, where he slows everybody down and he can do stuff. So he'll be like, a bullet will be coming towards someone while he's in his philosophical talk, and like, oh no, are they gonna die? What? And like, he'll do stuff like that. So yeah, but look, once you get out of that section of the fucking, and also like, there's constant flashbacks to the footage. Like, they're constantly just trying to remind you, hey, remember this scene in The Matrix? Remember this scene in The Matrix? So that's kind of annoying. But look, once you get to the middle section of the film, if you're a Matrix fan, you'll love it. If you're not, you might get bored. But you go to the real world, and weirdly, the best stuff is when they're not in the Matrix. But they're in the real world, and they do this world building, and you see it actually takes place 60 years after the last two. And like, you get to see how they've moved on and how the peace treaty went with the machines and all this new technology they have. There's a new human city, and they bring back a lot of the characters from the sequels in small roles. And so that got me really excited. Like, they just pop up, and if you don't know who they are, it wouldn't ruin the story. But if you know them, that's pretty cool. So the middle section I really liked. I love the world building and lore stuff in there. I don't want to ruin too much, but they bring back two previous characters, Morpheus and Agent Smith, but they're played by different actors. The explanation is a little disappointing to why they look different. But in particular, the guy who plays Smith, he's a good actor, but he's no Hugo Weaving. Like, his personality is so different, and he's so much younger, and he just seems so much less menacing. And it's like, dude, you're not... Like, he didn't have to be Smith. He could have been a completely other character. You could have just called him a different name. And he doesn't even have the same powers as the sequels, so it's kind of like, you didn't need to be here, dude. It kind of, like, it actually hurts the film more than that. And then the final act, I've seen a lot of people praise it, but I wasn't too impressed with it. I got two more notes I want to make of this film, though. One, a lot of this would be forgivable if it was like, oh, well, it's The Matrix. At least the action scenes are good, right?
They're not good?
The action...
No!
Look, it's okay. It's just, it's nowhere on the level as the others. Like, the original trilogy... So I gotta say this. I have seen some people say this movie has no soul. I would say it's not that it doesn't have soul. It's just everyone who made it what it was didn't return. It's got a new composer, so the music does not sound much like the original score, which I'm very disappointed about. They lost one of their main producers, and they got some different actors, and they got a different cinematographer. And the biggest one is, with the original trilogy, the Wachowskis did not direct the action scenes. They flew people in from Hong Kong for that. In this...
Oh, I didn't actually know that.
Yeah. And then this one, it's like, Lana Wachowski directed it, and it's just like, it's really choppy. There's a lot of fast cuts. There aren't many long takes. Even Jessica Henwick, who did amazing martial arts in Iron Fist when no one else did good martial arts, she feels underutilized. In fact, her and Michelle Ali, they're very prominent in the first half of the film, and the second half they don't do much after that. But yeah, I feel like the action was very disappointing. There was a lot more use of practical stuff than I expected, which is nice, but very disappointing action scenes, I would say, and not a lot of them. Like, maybe there's 3 key action scenes with a few more here and there, but not a lot. And my last point is...
Is there a lot of talking?
Yeah, especially in the middle.
Okay.
But it's better. They've improved the talking. But this goes into my final point, is that this film is way more emotional than the others, but not in a good way. Like, when you hear the film's emotional, I think, oh, it's really sad or something. No, in the others, they would talk like robots all the time. In this, Thomas Anderson, Neo, because he's going through a lot of stress, he's always really anxious and for a lot of it. And the core of this is a love story between Neo and Trinity. He wants to rescue Trinity from the Matrix again. But in this, in my opinion, Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss have no chemistry. They're in these romantic scenes, and I'm not feeling the romance. And I feel that I feel like I'm going to get yelled at for this, but Keanu Reeves is not a strong actor. I think he's really good physical actor. But like,
or he's strong in like the right genre.
Yeah, like,
it has to be like a specific.
He's great if he's playing like a stoic hero role, right? But in this, he's doing romance scenes. He's doing some comedy, doing anxious, and like the script does not work to Keanu Reeves' strengths, which is I think its biggest flaws. The other three kind of did. Like he's good when he's like doesn't talk too much and he just reacts with a whoa every now and then. But this, it's like, no. And he's not the only one. Like, I feel like even Carrie-Anne Moss, it's not showing her best side either. I feel like the best people in this really is Jessica Henwick and Michelle Ali, but they don't have that much screen time compared to the others. And I guess you can maybe say, like, there are a few other good ones, but the guy who played Smith in this, he's so miscast. I'm not saying he's bad, just he's so miscast. He should not have been cast for that role. And also, guys, there's an end credit sequence. Also, Neil Patrick Harris is pretty good. I like Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
But, like, guys, don't stay for the end credit sequence. It's just a cat joke, and it's not even funny.
Oh,
and you know what it is? It's a cutback to the guys brainstorming about the video game, and they're just like, well, maybe it doesn't have to be a video game. Well, what do people like? People like cats. I know what it is. The cat tricks. And that's it. It's like, you took us...
No.
The post-credit scene is a bad joke that takes place during the worst part of the film. And, look, the Wachowskis were never good at comedy. They've always had this weird, awkward thing to it. But it's like, they did not play to their strengths.
I love bad puns, but
that was
that
pretty
one,
bad.
That's actually bad.
terrible.
Bad.
It ends on a terrible cat-dad joke. Dad-cat joke. And, yeah, look, I only recommend it for hardcore Matrix fans. If you're just going for the action, you're not going to have a terribly great time. If you're going for nostalgia, this one actually beats you over the head. I've never seen nostalgia used so terribly before. Like, it's actually a plot point. They're like, what's a better way to reveal the truth to you than with a little nostalgia? Like, that's an actual line in the film.
Oh my god.
Here's the fucked up thing, though.
Okay, this is painful to listen to. I don't... Yeah.
Last thing I'll say is I'm a hardcore Matrix fan, so I probably will see it again. I did like what they did with the lore. They brought in some new elements that I haven't covered yet, which I thought were really interesting. But, oh man, like it... I know Lana Wachowski made this film during like a hard time of her life. Like, her parents died like 5 months apart from each other, and that's why her sister didn't return. So I'm sure this film was tough to make, but like the creative team wasn't there. It comes down to this problem that a lot of visionary directors have, where if they are unchecked and they're given unlimited freedom, eventually they start fucking up. Like
George Lucas.
George Lucas is the biggest example of that. But like, I think that's what happened with the sequels. And here it's like, I feel like she thought she was giving people what they wanted, maybe, while also being rebellious. But it's like, if you wink at the camera too many times, it stops being a movie and it starts being a selfie.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Look, let's move on.
I just got a couple things. Yeah. So number one, now correct me if I'm wrong, because I tried to suppress the memory of this film in my brain. But in Matrix Revolutions, doesn't Neo and Trinity die? Don't they die?
And that, and that is addressed, and that's actually one of the best things about this film. If you like the sequels, they don't technically retcon anything. They actually address every question I can think of that was left from the sequels is answered. You may not like the answers, but they do answer all of them. And they reveal it pretty late in the movie, but yeah, the reason why they're back is revealed.
Okay. And I was reading, because I know Hugo Weaving couldn't do the movie because he had scheduling conflicts with a bunch of other films. I still don't understand why they recast Morpheus. Like, Lawrence, they didn't like they.
Do you want me to tell you why? It's a spoiler, but I'll tell you what.
So they actually address it in the. Is
they,
there?
they
I'm happy for it to be spoiled.
Yeah,
Are
I
you
don't
happy,
care.
Jesse?
okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
this is actually a thing I find annoying about the film. It's technically not Morpheus. His name is Morpheus, but what he actually is. So first of all, one of the new elements is programs can be taken out of the Matrix now, and they come as like this weird nanobot thing. They look different outside, but basically what it is, he's a program programmed by Neo from his game, which is an amalgamation of personality traits from Morpheus and Smith, with memories of them. And he's named Morpheus, but he actually isn't Morpheus. He's like Morpheus and Smith as one, but he's a program that can manifest himself in the real world, but he's a good guy. So
That just sounds insane.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
but I wish they
Alrighty.
could, but they could have called him another name. They could have called him Morpheus 2.0. But yeah, but Lawrence Fishburne is referenced. They tell you what happens to him after Revolutions.
Because he's the only one that didn't die, I think, wasn't he? I think he's the only one that didn't.
Pretty much. Well, what they actually do, the one thing they do retcon is the Matrix Online MMO game, which no one played. But in that, apparently his character died, and Lawrence Fishburne did voice that. But they kind of give him a more fitting death. There's a shrine to him at one point at the statue, and they tell you what happened. But I don't know, tell you how he died. I assumed it was old age, but maybe he died. No. He does get. I think he got killed, but like it's like off screen or something.
Oh, okay.
Like he's not in the movie, but like 60 years have passed. He's passed away.
What
since.
a strange way to write a sequel. Like,
Oh.
Yeah. Like I said, they take a lot of swings, and I appreciate them for taking some risks, but a lot of them really didn't
land.
pull off.
They just missed the mark, yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in me, there's an element of me that likes it, but I know it's not good. It's not actively terrible, I'll say, but it is a huge disappointment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sucks.
Like, even the music was disappointing. Oh my god. Here's how they end it, right? They cut to credits,
Okay.
right? Now, you might remember they usually would end on like a Rage Against the Machine song. And as a perfect metaphor for the whole movie, they cut to a terrible cover of Rage Against the Machine by a band called Brass Against the Machine, whose instruments are all...
What?
They replaced all the... And in case you don't know Brass Against the Machine, they're a famous cover band with a female vocalist where they replaced the guitars with brass instruments. And they very famously made headlines a couple months ago because the lead singer invited a fan on stage and she urinated on his face in front of a live audience. And that's the band that ends the movie. So, yeah.
What the
You
hell?
can look it up on YouTube. She's rapping Rage Against the Machine while peeing on a guy in front of a huge crowd. That's Brass Against the Machine.
Holy shit.
And they end the Matrix movie. And I said that to my mate, and he goes, well, isn't that a perfect metaphor for Matrix Resurrections?
Oh my god!
It's a bad...
He's got a good point.
It's just a bad retelling of the previous...
Wow.
Well, it's...
Wow.
Yeah. Whether that's intentional or unintentional,
Wow.
it is extremely fitting.
I said more spoilers than I was meant to, but...
Oh, well.
I'm
That's
glad.
it.
I'm
Who
glad
gives a
you
fuck?
did.
Yeah.
I feel like I just went on more of a roller coaster with that than I will the actual film.
Yeah.
So
You know what's crazy?
no regrets.
Crazy part is,
Mhm.
if they buy a sequel on their day one, if they do a sequel on their day one, I love The Matrix, but even ultimately. All right, moving on to our second last topic of the day. Jesse, you saw The French Dispatch. I'm just realizing I missed a great segue opportunity because Dune stars Timothée Chalamet, so it's this. What are your thoughts on French Dispatch?
So French Dispatch is Wes Anderson's latest film. I went and saw this with my brother because he really likes Wes. My brother's not a movie person, but he does have a special soft spot for Wes Anderson films. He really likes Wes Anderson movies. And I said, yeah, man, we'll go see it. So I saw it with him, and it's very, very Wes Anderson. Like, if you know Wes Anderson movies, if you like Wes Anderson, this is just Wes Anderson just to a T. Like the camera shots are just like the way that they're framed. It's like all the activities like in this really wide shot. You see the characters, and it just holds there. Just the framing, the composition, the tone. It's got Wes Anderson's witty humor, subtle humor. It was good. I didn't think it was great. A lot of people are praising this movie. I didn't grab me as much as, say, Grand Budapest Hotel did, because that's probably my favorite Wes Anderson film of his. For me, Wes Anderson's a very kind of mixed bag. Like, some of his movies I really like, and then others I'm kind of they're all right. And this is one I was more about. So it follows the French Dispatch magazine, which is apparently a ripoff of the New Yorker. And it's all these journalists and reporters, and they're doing the final issue of the French Dispatch because the head editor, played by Bill Murray, dies, and he's founded the magazine and whatnot. So basically, they're doing a final issue, and it's just all the different journalists and reporters. And there's one segment with Owen Wilson, and he's like a cycling reporter, and he talks about the city, the French city they're in, and how it's hasn't much. Not much has changed over time, and just talking about different aspects of the city. Then you have a segment with Benicio del Toro is like an artist, but he's like in a maximum security prison because he killed 2 people. And Adrian Brody plays like this art dealer who's like obsessed with Benicio del Toro's artwork, and it's just like a bunch of splotches and stuff like that because he's doing like a naked portraits of this prison guard played by I'm going to butcher her name, but Leia Seydoux, I think her name is. She's an actress. She's a French actress. That was probably my favorite part in the whole movie, that whole segment, because it plays like it's just different sections of the magazine and just the relevant reporters or stories relevant to that final issue. So then there's one where Frances McDormand, who I love, she plays like a political reporter, and she reports on Timothy Chalamet, who's leading like a student revolution against the mayor of the town, and they play like a chess match. It's like a chess. It's quite funny. It's kind of hard to explain, but and she ends up like developing a relationship with Timothy Chalamet, and it's quite funny in some spots. And then the last one has Jeffrey Wright, who he reports on he has a dinner with this the head of police in this French town, and the head of police is his son ends up getting kidnapped by Edward Norton, who leads like a band of criminals. So it's all a bunch of stories just kind of meshed, like an anthology kind of. And for me, some were a lot more stronger than the others. For me, by far the most strong one was the Benicio del Toro Adrian Brody. I found it the most funny, the most witty. The problem I had with the film was it's so manufactured and so engineered. Like, there's so many references that would just go over people's heads. Like, for me, there was and maybe I'm not, because I'm not smart enough or something like that, but there's so many references that just went over my head, and I just didn't get it. And it was kind of took me out of it a bit. And
do you mean like historical references?
Just historical references and references to a whole bunch of different things. And for me, some jokes landed and others didn't. And I know it's not, it's not technically, it's not supposed to be like heavy on the comedy, but it's like that subtle, witty comedy that Wes Anderson, usually has when he had in the Grand Budapest Hotel and whatnot. It just didn't grab me as much, this movie, unfortunately. And, it had its moments. One of the interesting things I found was like at times it would be in color, but then it would be in black and white, and then it'd be widescreen, and there'd be 4:3 just in different scenes. Then there'd be some scenes where it'd be in animation, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, he just all over the place, like just the framing and he just played around with the framing and the color and the animation and the real. So I thought that was interesting, and there's parts I enjoyed, but then other parts I was just kind of like not engaged, and I just wasn't engaged by it. So it's a good film, but just not a great film. It's just a very sort of Wes Anderson movie, and I feel like for me, Grand Budapest to me is his best movie, and it just paled a bit more in comparison. And I know people like say don't compare the filmography or the director and whatnot, but I don't know. I just
it's hard not to, because he's so distinctive.
Yeah,
like his color palettes and his framing and the camera movements, everything. Even some of the characters, like character formats, are there's one character that follows the exact same formula in every single picture. It sounds like he threw bits of all of his films into a blender.
A little bit, yeah. I haven't seen all of his movies. I've only seen a few. Everything is just, it's so specific to the point where it's a bit too overdone.
Isolating.
Yeah, it's a bit it's a bit too overdone at points, and I was kind of a little bit disengaged at parts by it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a bad film. It's one of those movies, to be honest, you'd probably understand more of it the more you watched it. Like, I'd probably understand more about the movie if I watched it again. So yeah. That's basically it. I was gonna say something else, but I completely forgot. But yeah. So
okay.
I don't mean to segue, but I feel like a lot of the stuff you said there is my opinion of the next film we have to cover.
Oh, okay.
So,
That's funny.
although that one's maybe even weirder. Cool. Yeah, I've got to check that one out.
French Dispatch is better than. I'll say this. Sorry, I'll just say this about the French Dispatch.
Yeah.
If you like Wes Anderson, to me, this movie's for Wes Anderson fans. I wouldn't watch this movie unless you're a fan of Wes Anderson's movies. If you're a fan of Wes Anderson's movies, watch this. You'll probably enjoy it. If you're not a fan of Wes Anderson movies, stay well clear of this movie, because you will not enjoy this movie at all. So that's my final thought. I did think it was better than our next movie though. So
well, let's use that as a segue. Next is Don't Look Up, which I think it's a very divisive film. It's got a lot of people split. It's an interesting film. I think it's going to lead to an interesting conversation. But on that point, let's start with somebody else, though. Adrian, you haven't spoken for a while. What are your impressions of Don't Look Up?
Okay, well, on our previous episode, I spoke about how excited I was because Adam McKay is one of my favorite directors ever. And this was one of those instances for me where the trailer was light years better than the film. Not even necessarily because it's garbage or anything, but because it was so misleading. It's like going on a Tinder date and they used like photos from 20 years ago. And you're like, this is not what you look like.
Yeah.
And I mean, the trailer was just fast-paced, light comedy with this dark twist. And I was so excited to go on that roller coaster. And then it just ended up being a bit more of a merry-go-round. And I felt a bit underwhelmed. I'm going to believe that was intentional so that the audience could be brought back down to an actual kind of dark topic and reflect on themselves as human beings. I don't think there's no way that they would go, yep, we've okayed this trailer, and he would say that it was fine if there wasn't a reasoning behind it.
Well, I found that interesting because I got the opposite impression. Like, I feel like, okay, so to your credit, the trailer made it feel like it's a bit more of a funny ha-ha film, and the actual film was actually a bit more depressing. But like, I kind of went in going, oh, it's like a dark comedy.
Satire.
But admittedly, yeah, but satire's definitely. But I will admit, I think the film, it's never ha-ha funny. It's like, look at this ridiculous situation. There's no jokes. It's just a funny scenario. But the funniness seems to be taken out when it hits so close to home and it's real.
Yeah.
Before you go on, can I just check that we're on the same ground here? Because I spoke about this to someone today who saw it, and they didn't pick this up. So I want to make sure that I'm interpreting this film correctly. I saw this film. It's about COVID, right? Like, it's about like
It could be about so many things. Like,
or it could,
so many things.
Well, my main thing was COVID.
It could be about the president.
Yeah, it could be about Trump as well, I guess.
It was,
Yeah, but that was
pretty obvious.
Like Meryl Streep, very interesting. Like that, I think they took a safe route to avoid backlash. But very Trump inspired without actually going for Trump. Like, I think Jonah Hill's character clearly based on Trump's kids. Although I did...
That was like a...
Yeah, I did see a trivia thing where it said Jonah Hill said his character, he imagined it as if the Fire Festival was a person.
Yeah.
Yes! Oh my god.
But yeah, I took it like the comments coming, and there were like multiple, like there was a few lines throughout the film where they're like, all the scientists agree. They're like, well, let's just sit and wait on it. But all the scientists are saying it's going to happen as a certainty. And they're like, yeah, but we'll just see. And then eventually they apologize and they're like, oh, well, yeah, we see it as a threat, but how do we make money off it? Like, I felt that was very, yeah. And I think the main criticism was at the media and capitalism. But I feel like there are a lot of scenes that were inspired by like COVID. Like when they started saying like, they called them uppers. I'm like, oh, that's anti-vaxxers. Like, oh, so that's anti-vaxxers calling them sheeple or whatever. But
you could literally, I think, interpret it whichever way you want. You could like take it that way. I looked at it more as a commentary on the elections and how easy it was for a total knucklehead of a president to manipulate people and appeal to an audience that isn't exactly the most intelligent, and then the civil unrest it creates. That was more of how I took it.
Yeah.
Because the presidential aspect was like so in your face.
I thought it was about climate change, and
shit!
There's
three different viewpoints.
I never thought of that, but that tracks. That
also Leo DiCaprio leading it is a huge indicator that it could mostly
because he's very environmentalist.
Like,
wow, I can't believe I never thought of that. But that all tracks. It may even track a little bit better than the COVID reaction.
I don't know where you got COVID from. I did not get that at all.
Well,
there
were a few points, especially with Jennifer Lawrence's character, like when they're like saying like, oh, well, you don't know for a fact. And they'll be like, no, like we have peer-reviewed, all the scientists agree. I did also think it was interesting. It reminded me of something in the news, but I can't remember what. But when they had the Bash guy, which is clearly Tim Cook from Apple, or someone to that, or maybe it's Elon Musk or someone, or Jeff Bezos, someone to that effect. But when they're like, none of their rockets and stuff, none of it's peer-reviewed, it made me think a lot of like, it reminded me of something from the headlines, but I can't think of what.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
Sorry, Adrian. We interrupted you before, but I just thought that tangent was important, and I'm glad I did that now because I never thought of climate change. Jess never thought of COVID. I'm seeing now the other possibilities. It all sort of comes back to the same point, but it's interesting how different takes. Yeah.
For sure. That would have come up regardless, like that little tangent, which is, like, I thought all the actors were so good. They really nailed their characters to a T. Cate Blanchett is one of my favorite people ever. She was just brilliant. So even just like from an acting POV, I think it's a really amazing thing to watch. I knew it was going to be dark. Like, I was definitely expecting that. But I just thought it was going to be more, like, just a bit funnier. I really liked Jennifer Lawrence in this. I really enjoyed her in this. It's the first thing I've enjoyed watching her in for a while. And Timothée Chalamet killed me. I thought he stole his little moments and his one-liners were my favorite little bits because he's just this perfect representation of... I don't know what, like Gen Z, I suppose, but like he was really cool. I liked him a lot. And I think that it definitely left me in a reflective mindset and looking at the way that humanity can never really actually just stand together or help each other, even when they are conflicted or someone has this belief or that belief. It's just so fucking impossible to get people at least on the same page of like, let's help each other, whether it's climate change or COVID or voting or whatever.
Yeah, it's that crabs in a barrel
like,
effect. Like someone's always trying to pull someone down.
Yeah.
I think
Exactly.
you mentioned before the it's got some. It talked about the election. I think it sort of just came to me now as you said it. It really does touch on echo chambers, which was a major element of the election, where people are only hearing kind of what they want to believe, and they're able to twist things to suit their way. Like there's a scene, I can't remember the exact words, but Meryl Streep sort of twisting and like, oh yeah, when they're saying don't look up because they don't want you to look up because they're looking down on you. It's like, no, dickhead, they don't want you to. You don't want them to look up because that's where the truth is. Like, it's very
Exactly. And then at the end of the film, the only fucking thing that matters in the end is those people that made your life memorable in the first place. And it's that moment where you go, what a fucking waste of time it was to like, to
try.
I don't know, go out of your way to no, but like to go out it. They tried so hard, but like to go out of your way to like hurt others or bring them down or do a fucking campaign when, excuse me, there is a meteor in the sky. That was very emotional.
That touches on my biggest criticism, and I'd really like to raise this. And
go for it.
I am loving how very recently, I'm loving and hating how politics and stuff is coming to a lot of films lately, and the ones that are very now. But like my problem with it is sometimes they don't. I don't like it when a film is like, here's the problem, and they don't offer solution. Like Black Klansman did it well, where I think they spent the whole movie setting up the problem with the rise of KKK, and then they end on here's how it's affecting now and how it was like how it influenced the election a little bit. And I was like, that's a good way of doing it. But something I don't like, for example, in Joker, which is a great film. Before anyone comes at me, I love Joker. But the whole point of like the Joker movie is kind of like, this is how crazy society is, how bad it is. And it sort of ends, but it's like, I already know society's fucked up. I want you to tell me what we should do about it. Well, I already know it's fucked up. And that's the problem with this movie too. It's sort of showing like the dangers of echo chambers and dangers of
forgetting like how to be a decent
and media manipulation and all that. But I really wish it ended on a point where it's like, this is what you can do, or some sort of educational aspect with a character. Maybe one character could represent the audience and they could learn how to look past it. Or I wish there was some element to that. Like, sure, it ends on a kind of a funny sci-fi moment and we get to see Meryl Streep's butt. But which apparently DiCaprio is very upset about. Like he says,
it's a body double.
She's film royalty. It's a body double.
It's a body double.
But apparently, like DiCaprio, like he's actually uncomfortable with even that. He's like, she's royalty. You don't do that. Which fair enough.
Yeah.
It is Meryl Streep.
But she's really down to earth. I'm sure.
She had no problem having fun in this movie, which is a side of her I don't think you've ever seen before. So go Meryl Streep. It's awesome. Can't believe she showed a new side of herself. Like that's great for her. But I think. I kind of wish they had more to being like, this is how things suck. And I wish there was just a little bit extra after it being like, this is what you can do. Like, it doesn't have to be a happy ending, but what I'm trying to get at? It's, yeah.
I get you. I think I think that's where that, like, McKay comes in, is that it doesn't have to end. Even if it's pure comedy, it doesn't even have to end with like a solution. It's just like, here you go, served it on a platter, fresh, take it however you want. Like, I don't know. I think everything was intentional, but if that's how you're left feeling, it's completely valid, and I see.
Yeah, like I'll admit, it's not a movie's job to make me feel good. A movie is allowed to. A movie like sets out to make you feel a certain way, and if it accomplishes it, then it's done its job. And I think the point is you're meant to feel uncomfortable a little bit. You're meant to be a bit concerned. So, technically speaking, Adam McKay did his job with plenty of ticks, flying colours. But I don't want to feel not good. This movie felt not good. This made me feel bad. The movie hurt feelings, not good. I don't like that.
Feelings hurt, not good. I think on Jesse's point of climate change, I was just thinking like, I mean, you really, because Leo as well is like his whole life is about it, It's a huge, it's supposed to be a slap in the face that wants you to wake up. That last shot after the meteor like destroys the earth when the credits are rolling, and you see just useless fucking trash like flying through the air that you look at and go like, what? Why the fuck are we just like polluting our brains and our planet with this shit?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that was a commentary on it, and it's supposed to make it hurt.
Can I just say, because like I haven't had anything, I haven't had the chance to
Yeah,
say anything
yeah,
about
Jesse.
give my
I'm
take on
thinking
this
about
yet.
It's your turn. Take the wheel.
So my take on this is, and I don't know about you guys, but I was fucking bored. I was so fucking bored. I enjoyed like the first third of the movie, and I was, when they were trying to get into the president's office and tell the president what was going on and figure out, oh shit, how are we going to explain this or whatever, and initially they laughed it off and you know, weren't taking it seriously, and they tried to go into the media and they weren't taking that seriously as well, and I thought that was all interesting and good, but then after that it just kind of tanked for me, and it came across as like bloated, pretentious. I felt I was getting whacked over the head. Like Adam McKay was like, "This is important," and I'm like, "Yeah, man." It's like, I get it. I'm not directly against the message, but there's a better way, more efficient way of doing this than getting a hammer and smashing someone over the head with it. I liked Meryl Streep, and
I will admit. I just want to say to your point. I think you raise a good point where when the first meteor stops, the film stops. The momentum of the film, it comes to a halt, and it doesn't sort of match the trajectory of the film. So, yeah, I feel like the film has a struggle to try and get back up. For me, it does eventually get back up there, but it takes a long time to do that. And I think that does fuck up the momentum of the film. So I agree.
Well, it never did that for me. I mean, I liked Meryl Streep as like this Trump-like president, and I did like Jonah Hill, but it got to the point where they were starting to annoy me, and I was thinking, these types of characters you don't want to, you know, they just kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. I felt like, because Jonah Hill was playing like a douchey son of the president. Yeah. I get that, and he's good in like small like spaces. Like one of the funniest parts for me in the whole movie is a scene where he just chucks the water and the what is it, like the nuts or the chips or whatever he chucks them or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's one of the funny scenes of the whole movie. Like it just got to the point where they're both those characters were really starting to grate on me, and I got to the point where I wasn't really liking any of the characters in the movie. The only character I kind of liked, and the only character I felt that the only actor I felt kind of pulled off a pretty good performance for me was probably Leo. I'm being honest. Yeah. Like Leo was the only character for me that I was actually engaged with.
When he lost it at the news desk,
that
was amazing.
Great scene.
He was like all the others. I was just like, you know, like, I thought, Kate Blanchett actually, I thought she was all right. Her with Tyler Perry as well. I thought they were good. Kate Blanchett actually got a bit of criticism for her role in that. I've actually thought she did all right. Yeah,
really?
I think she played like that Fox News blonde hair, you know, kind of.
She did her job. She did her job.
Like, it was good.
So but oh yeah, man. Oh guys, to be honest, I was just bored. Like the whole Ariana Grande thing, take that out. I was so fucking bored.
Yeah, she actually. I was
so bored. I was like,
I don't know.
Take that out. Like I was looking at my time waiting for this movie to finish. Like, I was just so bored throughout the. It's just for me. It just felt pretentious, bloated, and I feel like if you cut this movie by like half an hour and change around a few things, rewrite it a bit, it could be a solid movie. And I'm not totally against having a political satire that, you know, climate change is important, climate change is bad, but you don't go so over bloated and heavy handed with it. Do you know what I mean? It's and that's just what it felt like to me. So
I think look, the problem with Meryl Streep. That's not a good way to start a sentence. The problem with Meryl Streep. But the problem with Meryl Streep and Jonah Hill's characters is actually, you can say this about a lot of characters in the film, but particularly them. They are not really characters. They're more like caricatures. Like they're not real people. Like like even Trump, you could probably have a real conversation with him if you try. I'm sure it'd be hard, but it's possible, you know? In this, like, they literally operate one way. And in the first scene where they do meet them, it is really bizarre because the way they are reacting is very non-human-like. And I know there's a line with, like, oh, you know how many end-of-the-world talks we get? But, like, that is the risk with doing characters like that. You do risk alienating your audience, not just for political reasons, but like also because if they don't feel real, people won't relate to them. That's my problem with the movie that shall not be named that we saw a few months ago. It's like they're not real, like their way. It's like people don't react to stuff that way, you know. So I get that, although I also felt the frustration the characters felt. I think that is by design.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It still makes you feel frustrated.
They got insufferable, and I understand what Adam McKay is trying to do. I understand it's like they're supposed to be, you know, narcissist, self-absorbed idiot. I get that, but. You know, it got to the point where it just annoying me. I was really annoying. I did love that small part that Ron Perlman had where he's got the meteor coming down and he pulls out a gun and he starts shooting. I did love that one. I did love that part. So
that was good.
To be honest,
that was a lot.
I felt Jonah Hill was hilarious in this. I know his character was annoying, but he had so many good lines. And I don't know if you caught it, but you guys noticed there was an end credit sequence. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Jonah Hill at the end, he comes. He's the only man surviving. Straight away takes out his phone. Hey guys, what's up? I'm the last man alive. Like, comment, subscribe.
Oh my god!
It's like what a fucking douche. Like he played a douche really well. But yeah, like
I was like waiting for more stuff like that. Like that's why for me it was a letdown because I thought that there would be 50% comedy, 50%. You know,
yeah, I feel like he was the only character that had jokes to say, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Leo never made me laugh. He made me feel a lot of emotions. He had a great performance, but, you know?
I thought Jonah Hill was the funniest character, but for me, it was just, I think he got used too much, and I think his douchiness became a bit too much. Like, dude, just, you know, like, I get what you're trying to do, but, you know, like, the way he's treating Jennifer Lawrence and stuff like that, I just got too much at a certain point, like how his character's so douchey, and I don't know. Like
the thing is like, yeah, the sad thing is, I think in reality, that's how some people feel about the Trump kids. Other than I forget his daughter's name, but she actually seems like she knows what she's talking about. But but the guys, every time they start talking politics, like, dude, shut up! Like, you only got this job because your dad's the president, and he barely even knows what he's doing. Sorry, I won't get too political, you guys. Sorry. I don't mean to be that. But look, one thing you can't take away from this film is it does feel like an Adam McKay film. Love it or hate it, at least that was consistent.
That was consistent.
Yeah, like I kind of have nothing else to say. I kind of
Can I just say on that point?
Yeah.
I was just going to say on that point. I feel like he balanced it better with Vice, the satire, the comedy.
I agree.
He balanced it so much more better, and I thought Vice was fantastic. I feel like he balanced it so much better in that film. And I know this kind of takes it like way over the edge, and I guess because it's not based on a historical event technically, so. But
you know, Jesse, I was gonna say, I reckon, you know how you said you'd prefer if like a half hour was cut out? Because they had so much star power, I would not be surprised if they all had management negotiating for this much monologue time and blah, 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 which might have pushed it a bit over the edge.
Yeah.
So
maybe. Like, I was surprised Jennifer Lawrence didn't have, like, the first quarter of the film, she had a lot to do, but, like, after that first media thing, she didn't have a lot, and that really surprised me. Yeah, I agree with you. I prefer Vice way more than this. This is a really weird film. I think there's a lot of really talented people doing a lot of good work, but I don't know if the sum of all the parts. I don't know. This is the type of film that's good to go to Netflix because it's less of a financial risk for a studio to put this in the cinema. But that's the great thing about streaming services. You can make weirder films and put it, even if it costs $1 billion with Leo and Meryl Streep and everybody. So like, as much as I think that's why, Matrix went to HBO Max. So I think, while, we are getting some not so great films, I'm also grateful that we can see big name talent experiment like this.
Yeah.
But, for every, Vice or something amazing, you get Mother or some other weird experimental piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, I kind of felt like the same. It's quite funny because I felt very similar when I saw Mother. I felt like I was getting hit over the head. Dude, I get it. I get what you're trying to say. I don't need to get my head smashed in 100,000 fucking times. Like,
Mom, I get it. Stop. Yeah.
So.
100%.
Well, look, I think that wraps it up here today for upcoming attractions. We are very grateful for having you with us today, guys. We really appreciate it. And stay tuned because we've got a whole lot more coming in 2022. Adrienne, if people want to find us, where can they go to listen to the show?
They can find us on any podcast streaming platforms like Spotify, iTunes, and while you're there, you should also give us a little rating, maybe 5 stars. I think that'd be pretty amazing. And you can find us at Upcoming Attractions on Instagram, TikTok, and then where else can they go?
Jesse? What if they want to see our faces? Where can they watch us?
They can watch us on YouTube.
I was asking Jesse.
Yeah.
Guys, we still haven't mastered the outro.
See, I literally said
to be honest, I don't mind. I don't mind if Adrienne takes most of the socials because I always forget the usernames. But we are on Twitter. Yes, Twitter. You know that platform everyone loves. Upcoming pod on Twitter, and we also got the YouTube clips, guys. So that's just like the highlights of every episode that we film. So that's just upcoming attractions clips. So we'll start pumping those out once this episode releases. So yeah,
we're doing such a terrible job at this, guys. If you want to watch the show, upcoming attractions on YouTube. If you want to see some clips, you can go to YouTube and see upcoming attraction clips. If you just want to see some snippets, Instagram, TikTok, the works. And don't forget to follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you like. And you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You literally can't escape us. This is a mouthful. I know how I used to do it at the other show. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Matt, it's Adrienne and Jesse. We are Upcoming Attractions. Thank you for hanging out with us today. We'll see you next time. Laters.